The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the grounds of Harker Heights High School. The air, still warm from the Texas heat, buzzed with the carefree chatter and laughter of teenagers. 15-year-old Hannah, her auburn hair gleaming in the sunlight, was huddled with her friends, sharing jokes and stories from the day. It was the beginning of her freshman year, a fresh start filled with the promise of new friendships and exciting experiences. She leaned in, giggling at something her friend Sarah whispered, completely oblivious to the figure approaching silently from behind. This wasn't the usual playful jostling of classmates. There was a deliberate, almost sinister quality to the movement. A shadow, darker than the others, fell over Hannah. Suddenly, a searing pain exploded across Hannah's scalp. It wasn't a sharp, quick pain, but a spreading, burning sensation that intensified with every passing second. A thick, viscous liquid was being poured onto her hair, its acrid smell instantly recognizable. Superglue. Hannah screamed, a high-pitched, terrified sound that cut through the surrounding noise. Her hands flew to her head, trying to pull away from the burning, but the glue was already working, bonding strands of her precious hair together, adhering to her scalp. The world, moments before filled with laughter, was now a blur of pain and panic. The figure, a boy she barely recognized, smirked and melted back into the stunned crowd. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating, broken only by Hannah's choked sobs. Who would commit such a senseless act of cruelty? Why would anyone target Hannah, a seemingly ordinary girl, with such calculated malice? And what would become of her, now that a moment of carefree joy had been transformed into a living nightmare? Hannah Grimmer wasn't just a victim. She was a daughter, a friend, a student with dreams and aspirations. Her home life was a haven, anchored by her father, Christian, a retired soldier whose quiet strength and unwavering love provided a sense of security. Her mother, Jessica, was the heart of the family, a warm and supportive presence who encouraged Hannah's creativity and independence. Hannah had a younger brother's name, with whom she shared a typical sibling bond, a mix of playful teasing and fierce loyalty. She loved to draw, spending hours sketching fantastical creatures and vibrant landscapes in her notebook. She was a budding artist, her talent evident in the delicate lines and expressive details of her work. Weekends were often spent exploring local parks, hiking trails, or simply relaxing at home with her family, playing board games or watching movies. Harker Heights High was a typical American high school, a sprawling complex of classrooms, hallways, and playing fields. It was a place of both excitement and anxiety for teenagers navigating the complexities of adolescence. The halls buzzed with the energy of students rushing between classes, the air filled with the scent of freshly cut grass from the football field and the lingering aroma of cafeteria food. For Hannah, the start of ninth grade represented a chance to reinvent herself, to shed the awkwardness of middle school and embrace new opportunities. She'd signed up for the art club, eager to connect with other creative students, and was secretly hoping to try out for the school play. Hannah's hair was more than just strands of keratin. It was a defining feature, a source of pride and confidence. It was a rich auburn, the color of autumn leaves, and it cascaded down her back in thick, lustrous waves. She took meticulous care of it, brushing it carefully each night, experimenting with different styles, and occasionally treating herself to a special conditioning treatment. She remembered the compliments she'd received, the times she'd felt beautiful and admired. Her grandmother used to braid it for her when she was little, telling her stories of strong women with long, flowing hair. It was a connection to her heritage, a symbol of her femininity, a part of who she was. It represented her personality, vibrant and free. The boy, later identified as Bully's name, had approached Hannah from behind with a chilling stealth. He'd been known for his disruptive behavior, a history of minor infractions, but nothing that hinted at the cruelty he was about to unleash. In his hand, he held a large, industrial-sized bottle of superglue, the kind used for heavy-duty construction, not for arts and crafts. He didn't say a word, not a taunt, not a threat, just a cold, blank stare as he uncapped the bottle. With a swift, deliberate motion, he upended the bottle over Hannah's head, starting at the crown and moving down, ensuring that a significant portion of her hair was saturated. The glue flowed quickly, cold and sticky, instantly clinging to her hair and scalp. Hannah's initial reaction was one of pure, unadulterated shock. She didn't understand what was happening until the burning started, a searing, agonizing pain that radiated across her scalp. She screamed, a primal scream of terror and pain, her hands instinctively reaching up to try and pull the glue away, but it was too late. The adhesive was already setting, bonding her hair together in a thick, matted mess. The surrounding students, initially frozen in disbelief, reacted in a chaotic mix of ways. Some gasped, their hands flying to their mouths in horror. Others, paralyzed by fear or perhaps a morbid curiosity, simply stared. A few, Hannah's close friends, rushed to her side, trying to help, but unsure what to do. One brave girl, friend's name, ran to get a teacher, her voice trembling as she shouted for help. Bully's name, his face devoid of any emotion, simply walked away, disappearing into the crowd as if nothing had happened. The pain was excruciating. Hannah described it later as feeling like her head was on fire. The glue, reacting with the moisture on her scalp, generated heat, causing first-degree burns. Her scalp was red, raw, and inflamed, the skin blistering in places. Clumps of hair, now solidified with glue, were stuck to her head, pulling painfully with every movement. She was rushed to the school nurse's office, her friends hovering anxiously around her. The nurse, clearly distressed by the severity of the situation, did her best to assess the damage. She tried to gently remove some of the glue, but it was firmly bonded. Every attempt caused Hannah to wince in pain. The smell of the glue was overpowering, a constant reminder of the assault. Hannah was in a state of shock, her body trembling uncontrollably. Tears streamed down her face, mixing with the sticky residue of the glue. She kept repeating, "Why? Why me?" Her friends tried to comfort her, holding her hand, offering words of reassurance. But their words felt hollow and inadequate in the face of such senseless cruelty. When Christian and Jessica arrived, their faces were a mixture of fury and fear. Christian, his military bearing evident in his rigid posture, demanded answers. Jessica, her eyes red-rimmed with tears, rushed to Hannah's side, her hands hovering protectively over her daughter's head. The sight of their daughter, in so much pain and distress, was almost unbearable. They knew, instinctively, that this was more than just a prank. This was an assault that would leave lasting scars, both physical and emotional. The Grimmers took Hannah to the emergency room, where doctors confirmed the first-degree burns. The medical staff worked carefully to remove as much of the glue as possible, using a special solvent, but it was a slow and painful process. Hannah had to endure having sections of her hair cut away, the strands so tightly glued together that they were impossible to salvage. The days that followed were a blur of pain, medication, and endless trips to the doctor. Hannah had to keep her scalp meticulously clean to prevent infection. She couldn't sleep properly, the pain throbbing with every heartbeat. The simple act of washing her hair, once a pleasure, was now a source of dread. Beyond the physical pain, the emotional toll was immense. Hannah became withdrawn and quiet, a stark contrast to her previously bubbly personality. She avoided looking at herself in the mirror, the sight of her damaged hair a constant reminder of the attack. She lost interest in her art, her sketchbook lying untouched on her desk. The joy had been stolen from her, replaced by a deep sense of shame and vulnerability. The meeting with the Harker Heights High School administration was a masterclass in bureaucratic deflection. Principal's name, along with a school counselor and a district representative, sat across from Christian and Jessica, their expressions carefully neutral. They acknowledged the incident, expressed their deep concern, and assured the Grimmers that they were taking the matter very seriously. However, their words rang hollow. Christian, his voice tight with controlled fury, presented the facts. The severity of Hannah's injuries, the lasting emotional trauma, and the blatant disregard for her safety. He demanded to know what disciplinary action would be taken against the perpetrator. Jessica, her voice trembling with emotion, pleaded with the administration to understand the profound impact this attack had had on their daughter. She spoke of Hannah's lost confidence, her fear of returning to school, and the injustice of it all. The school officials, however, remained frustratingly vague. They cited school policy, student confidentiality, and the need for a thorough investigation. They emphasized that they had to balance the rights of the accused with the needs of the victim. They spoke in platitudes about creating a safe learning environment and promoting positive behavior, but offered no concrete solutions. The meeting ended with a promise to keep the Grimmers informed, a promise that felt more like a dismissal than a commitment. The punishment eventually handed down to Bully's name was a mere slap on the wrist, a few days of in-school suspension. He would be allowed to attend classes, complete his assignments, and participate in extracurricular activities, all while Hannah was still struggling to recover from his attack. This decision sparked outrage, not only within the Grimmer family, but also among other parents and students who had heard about the incident. Social media became a platform for expressing this discontent. Comments poured in, condemning the school's leniency and calling for harsher consequences. Many shared their own stories of bullying and the inadequate responses they had received from school authorities. The hashtag Justice for Hannah began to gain traction, albeit locally at first. The Grimmers felt utterly betrayed. They had trusted the school to protect their daughter, to create a safe environment where she could learn and grow. Instead, they felt that the school was more concerned with protecting its reputation than with ensuring justice for Hannah. The in-school suspension felt like a tacit endorsement of the bully's behavior, sending a message that such actions were acceptable or at least not serious enough to warrant real consequences. Seeking clarity and guidance, the Grimmers consulted with a lawyer specializing in education law. The lawyer's name, explained that while the school had a legal obligation to provide a safe environment for its students, proving negligence could be a complex and lengthy process. She outlined the potential for a civil lawsuit against the school district, but cautioned that it would be a challenging battle. They also spoke with a child psychologist, Dr. Psychologist's name, who explained the long-term psychological effects of bullying. Dr. Psychologist's name emphasized that Hannah was experiencing symptoms of trauma, including anxiety, fear, and a loss of self-esteem. She recommended ongoing therapy to help Hannah process the experience and develop coping mechanisms. An educational consultant reviewed Harker Heights High School's anti-bullying policy and found it to be woefully inadequate. The policy lacked clear definitions of bullying, specific procedures for reporting and investigating incidents, and meaningful consequences for perpetrators. It was a document filled with vague language and empty promises, offering little real protection for students. For Christian Grimmer, the retired soldier, the school's response was a dereliction of duty. His years in the military had instilled in him a strong sense of justice, accountability, and the importance of protecting the vulnerable. He saw his daughter, his precious Hannah, as someone under his protection, and the school's failure to act decisively felt like a personal betrayal. He couldn't understand how an institution entrusted with the care of children could be so indifferent to such a blatant act of cruelty. His quiet strength was now fueled by a righteous anger, a determination to fight for his daughter and to hold those responsible accountable. He started writing emails to the school board, sharing his discontent. The decision to cut her hair was not made lightly. It was a process of agonizing deliberation, a wrestling match between holding onto what was left and letting go of a part of herself. Hannah would spend hours staring at her reflection, her fingers tracing the contours of the matted, glue-encrusted strands. The hair that had once been her pride was now a constant, painful reminder of the attack. She talked to her parents, her voice barely above a whisper. She confessed that she couldn't bear to look at herself, that the sight of her damaged hair made her feel sick and ashamed. She felt like the glue had not only ruined her hair, but had also stolen a part of her identity. Christian and Jessica listened patiently, their hearts aching for their daughter. They offered words of comfort and reassurance, reminding her that her beauty was not defined by her hair, that her strength and spirit were what truly mattered. They told her that they would support whatever decision she made, that they would be there for her every step of the way. The final decision came during one particularly difficult night. Hannah woke up from a nightmare, her heart pounding, her scalp throbbing. She couldn't shake the feeling of the glue, the burning, the violation. At that moment, she knew that she couldn't live with it any longer. She needed to reclaim control, to shed the physical manifestation of her trauma. She went to her parents' room, her eyes filled with tears, and told them that she wanted to cut it all off. She wanted a fresh start, visually and metaphorically. It was Jessica, Hannah's mother, who came up with the idea for Justice for Hannah. She recognized that her daughter's story was not unique, that countless other children were suffering in silence, victims of bullying and inadequate school responses. She wanted to create a platform to share Hannah's experience, to connect with other families, and to demand change. She created a Facebook page, choosing the name Justice for Hannah as a rallying cry, a declaration that they would not be silent, that they would fight for their daughter and for all victims of bullying. She wrote a heartfelt post describing the attack, the school's inadequate response, and Hannah's ongoing struggle. She included a picture of Hannah, her face pale and drawn, her hair a tangled mess. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, the post had been shared hundreds of times. Messages of support poured in from friends, family, and complete strangers. People shared their own stories of bullying, their outrage at the school's inaction, and their admiration for Hannah's courage. The page became a virtual community, a safe space for people to connect, to share their experiences, and to offer words of encouragement. Donations started coming to help with medical bills, showing the generosity of strangers. Among the many messages of support was one from a local hairstylist named Nikki. Nikki owned a small salon, the Main Event, known for its friendly atmosphere and its commitment to community service. She had seen the Justice for Hannah page and was deeply moved by Hannah's story. She sent a private message to Jessica offering to help Hannah for free. She wrote that she couldn't undo what had happened, but she could help Hannah feel beautiful again. She offered to cut and style Hannah's hair, to create a new look that would reflect her strength and resilience. Jessica was hesitant at first. She was worried about exposing Hannah to further potential disappointment or pain. But she also recognized the sincerity in Nikki's offer, the genuine desire to help. She showed the message to Hannah, who, after a moment of contemplation, agreed to meet with Nikki. Their first meeting was tentative, filled with a mix of nervousness and hope. Hannah was shy and withdrawn, her eyes downcast. Nikki was warm and welcoming, her smile radiating kindness. She didn't pressure Hannah, didn't rush her. She simply listened patiently and empathetically as Hannah recounted her story. She examined Hannah's hair, her fingers gently tracing the damaged strands. She saw not just a victim, but a survivor, a young woman with incredible strength and resilience. She knew she wanted to help. The transformation began with a consultation. Nikki didn't just want to cut Hannah's hair. She wanted to create a style that reflected her personality, her strength, and her resilience. They spent hours talking, looking at pictures, and discussing different options. Nikki explained each step of the process, ensuring that Hannah felt comfortable and in control. The actual haircut was a slow, deliberate process. Nikki carefully snipped away the damaged strands, working with precision and artistry. She used specialized techniques to minimize any further discomfort, constantly checking in with Hannah to make sure she was okay. As the glue-encrusted hair fell away, a new shape began to emerge. Nikki chose a short, stylish cut, a pixie cut with textured layers that framed Hannah's face beautifully. It was a bold choice, a departure from the long hair she had always cherished, but it was also a statement of defiance, a symbol of her newfound strength. Nikki added subtle highlights, a touch of warmth and dimension, to brighten Hannah's features. When Nikki finally turned the chair around to face the mirror, Hannah gasped. She barely recognized herself. The girl staring back at her was not the broken, defeated victim of a cruel attack. She was a confident, stylish young woman, her eyes sparkling with a newfound light. A tentative smile touched her lips, the first genuine smile she had shown in weeks. It wasn't just a haircut, it was a rebirth. The Justice for Hannah Facebook page continued to grow, becoming a powerful force for change. The story had gone beyond local, attracting attention from across the state and even nationally. People from all walks of life were sharing their own experiences with bullying, offering words of support, and demanding accountability from schools and lawmakers. The page became a hub for resources, providing information on anti-bullying organizations, counseling services, and legal aid. Parents shared tips on how to talk to their children about bullying, how to recognize the signs, and how to intervene effectively. Students shared stories of standing up to bullies, of supporting their friends, and of creating positive change in their schools. Donations continued to pour in, helping the Grimmers cover the costs of Hannah's medical treatment and therapy. Offers of support range from simple messages of encouragement to offers of legal assistance and even invitations to speak at anti-bullying events. The online community has become a real-world force, a testament to the power of collective action. Inspired by the outpouring of support and empowered by her new look, Hannah decided to use her voice. She started by writing a powerful post on the Justice for Hannah page, thanking everyone for their kindness and sharing her journey. She spoke openly about the pain she had endured, the fear she had overcome, and the hope she now felt. She began to respond to messages from other victims of bullying, offering words of encouragement and sharing her own coping strategies. She realized that she was not alone, that her story had resonated with countless others, and that she had the power to make a difference. She accepted an invitation to speak at a local anti-bullying rally, her first public appearance since the attack. Standing before a crowd of hundreds, her voice trembling at first but growing stronger with each word, she shared her story. She spoke about the importance of speaking up, of seeking help, and of standing together against bullying. Her words were met with thunderous applause, a testament to her courage and resilience. Hannah's return to Harker Heights High was a significant moment. She walked through the doors with her head held high, her new hairstyle a symbol of her strength and defiance. Her friends greeted her with open arms, their support unwavering. There were whispers and stares, of course, but Hannah refused to be intimidated. She encountered Bully's name in the hallway. He avoided her gaze, his shoulders slumped. There was no confrontation, no apology, just a palpable sense of shame. Hannah felt a flicker of pity for him, but she also knew that she had moved on, that she was no longer defined by his actions. The school had made some changes, revising its anti-bullying policy and adding staff training. While still imperfect, there was at least a public recognition. Hannah continues with her anti-bullying advocacy. She shares her story with schools, community groups, and even at the state level, lobbying for better laws. She volunteers with several anti-bullying organizations, offering support to those who experience something similar. She has changed, matured by the event, but she is stronger. Hannah's story is a powerful reminder of the devastating impact of bullying, the importance of community support, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. It highlights the need for schools to take bullying seriously, to implement effective prevention programs, and to provide meaningful consequences for perpetrators. It underscores the power of speaking out, of seeking help, and of standing together against injustice. Hannah's journey from victim to advocate is a testament to the transformative power of hope and the enduring strength of the human heart. It shows that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, it is possible to heal, to grow, and to create positive change. Her story is a call to action, a reminder that each of us has a role to play in creating a world where all children feel safe, respected, and valued. Hannah's future is bright. She's rediscovered her love for art, her sketchbook now filled with images of strength, resilience, and hope. She's considering a career in counseling, wanting to help other young people overcome trauma and find their voice. The scars on her scalp may have faded, but the lessons she learned, the strength she gained, and the purpose she found will remain with her forever. What will she create? What impact will she have? The possibilities are endless, and Hannah, the girl who once felt broken, is now ready to embrace them all.